We'll sort out the small details and then we'll start our live. We'll start our live. As the gang says, a quick game, just a few hits. In a minute, we'll start. I hope everything is okay with everyone. Let's say with everyone, right? It already involves everyone. Today's live, let's see, we've already started our live. Okay, it's 8 p.m. and we're in Sao Paulo. Today is April 9th, 2025. In today's salary, we're going to talk about real democracy. Sometimes people get lost in what democracy is. Real democracy must involve some parameters. For example, real democracy, education, health, and security. And I'm going to start talking about a government plan for the municipality. It's important for us to know that the municipality is where we are. In previous live broadcasts, I've told you many times that living beings are always in a volume, and this volume, information comes from this volume, and information leaves this volume. But when a living being is with another living being, this volume is a little bigger. The more living beings, the greater the volume. And sometimes when there are several living beings in a volume, in a space, in a territory, these living beings have a history, which is their story. This history is the origin of the state. The history of living beings in a region, in a volume, is the origin of the state. And in this origin of the state, of this history of this state, there come some rules and even the constitution in the case of Brazil. So you have the following: people, living beings, space, history, rules, regulations of this story, and this fullness of living within this story that changes little by little. So the volume is extremely important. But another important thing that we sometimes lose sight of is information. And she's exchanging information about this. Look, the topic is real democracy, and I'm talking about information, different things. So it's the volume, the information, the awareness, and then you have democracy. If this information is leaking from one volume to another, you can be generating different things. For example, when you call someone on the phone, you say that you are in a space and there is a communication that leaves your space and goes to another. Or through WhatsApp or through some internet network, the communication goes from one side to the other. You can act in another space, but wait a minute. In one space, you had one rule, and you are going to act where the rule is different. So wherever you are going to act, there must be rules for your performance. Otherwise, you will contaminate the other space. Today, we are going to divide it into 5 parts, more or less. I will comment and mix the topics so that we can know if this democracy is real. Education, health, and safety. Of course, reviewer 3, education, health, and safety. But we are going to break it down into 5 parts to make it easier. We are going to talk about collaborative education, trying to get rid of ego and living, getting rid of ego and profit, and making a full life. Collaborative education at the municipal level is trying to put cooperative education with people in the regions of the municipality, starting from preschool, cooperative education. Cooperative education is something that is very cool because cooperative education requires that things, leadership, there is no fixed leadership. In competitive education, which I received, possibly which you received, there is the desire to be the alpha male, the leader. In cooperative education, no. And I exchange the situations. It's the same as what I said in the last live, those flights of steps, they change positions and who is the leader, because education is cooperative. And a more intense, stronger, and more emotional way of talking about cooperative education is the heart itself. When the heart has some cells that are like pacemakers, which are in the atrium, and if these cells that are pacemakers, they depolarize, contract, depolarize. If one of them does not depolarize to contract in the atrium, the other one next to it contracts. But if the atrium does not contract, the ventricle contracts. So it seems that what needs to be done in your life within cooperative education, we will do. Look, but it's Maria's responsibility. But if Maria doesn't do it, Zezino will do it, Jackson will do it, Manuela, someone will do it, because it's a cooperative education. It will be done. By whom? There is a certain order, but this order can change. There is no problem at all because there is no need for an alpha leader. What exists is all of us, and together we will solve things. So there is no one who is the most intelligent or the least intelligent. You can be more intelligent for this here and not for that there. So everything changes. Cooperative education does not have this competition of who is the best at what, but rather everyone. And then you don't have this vision of profit because education is cooperative. And of course, in this cooperative education and within the municipality, we have to include DREX CIDADÃO. Why? DREX CIDADÃO represents the municipality's income because we're talking about the municipality now, the municipality's income. The municipality yields, the municipality planted, I don't know, soybeans, corn. It produced something, a service, it yielded something. This income is passed on to the population. And look, there's also the income from carbon credits. The municipality has some forests, it has some unpolluted rivers. The municipality has no garbage, prosperity bribri. If the municipality has no waste, that is, it does not generate pollution or waste, it is already in a cyclical economy. The waste it generates is returned to service and returns, and there is no pollution. This is difficult, but it is possible. So then we enter bribri prosperity, where man is in sync with the environment and there is no waste or pollution. It's important, just look at how history changes. History, these people, these living beings in this space have a history, and this history does not pollute. And that gives space to other living beings. It replicates itself in that environment. It's a heaven, right? And it is possible, and it is possible. So we have collaborative education to put this collaboration in the heads of individuals, ourselves, and our children. It doesn't matter if you are better at this or that. What matters is that together we will solve our problems, but together we will also isolate ourselves from the problems that others may be putting in our way, other spaces. This is important. Also, in this real democracy that involves education, health, and security, there is health. We have the SUS for health. We have the SUS. The SUS needs to go to 5.0. Today, the SUS has some programs that are being used and are centralized. Okay, so the SUS is being used everywhere and the SUS information is centralized. But from 5.0, that's what we need to get to. The SUS will also be online. If you have a problem, you open it. Just like I'm opening this video with you, you open it and someone will assist you at the SUS and it will start to cycle. It will classify you. What is the problem you have? It will see, it will measure your temperature or blood pressure. It will have a relationship with you online. But you will register everything with the SUS and then it will direct you to a place that is part of the SUS. But this referral is already tailored to you. An experiment with you, something done beforehand, a selection with you, and many times in this selection they already recommended a little tea. They already indicated that you were very stressed, and at that moment, that conversation with the SUS that is there online. So the SUS, you will not schedule an interview with the SUS or wait in line. You enter the SUS, someone attends you online, and you start to say, no, your throat is sore, it hurts, oh, I have a problem, I cut it here, what do I do? The SUS says, forwards it to such and such, the call has already been opened, everything is fine, SAMU is coming. Do you understand? This is the municipal health. Health is important. It is hybrid. It is the hybrid CUS that is online and real in the municipality. Did you notice collaborative education, hybrid CUS? Then security with technology and belonging. For the hybrid CUS to happen, we have to have something called security, but information security. So everyone should have access to the internet. I always suggest to municipalities that, man, you distribute a mixed network in the network where there is Wi-Fi, several retransmitters, fiber optics. But when you get close to that neighborhood where there are a lot of houses, houses that are a little poorer or even slums, the electrical network will pass on the internet information. So everyone in that neighborhood, in those houses, when they put a little PLN plug in the socket, already has the internet. So it's simple. The final distribution is the internet. So the internet is everywhere. If you install a camera, the camera will be filming and can provide protection on your street whenever you need it. I just plug it into the socket. So did you notice? So you have security with technology and this free internet. Hold on. Hey Jackson, Mayor, the city government needs money, okay? The internet is free, but in order for you to make the internet free, you tell the population, I provide the internet service, you give me the right to charge for the data mining that the social network does with you. Do you give me the right to charge the social networks for the time you spend on the internet? Why? Look, we have the citizen's right. We are in the income for the citizen, and the income is daily, and it depends on how much time the social network sucks your attention. I have the right, I, the city, to charge the social networks. Oh, and the social network is mining your data? Oh, but you signed up to mine it. Okay, you signed up, but I'm giving you the internet. I, the municipality, have the right to charge the social network for data mining because the data generated in this municipality belong to the municipality. It's like mining iron, gold, or oil. And then we have a lot of money in the municipality. It gives you the internet for the entire population and charges the social networks for data mining, or it charges the social networks for the time that our citizens are dedicating to social networks. The attention time is also billed by the city hall in some way. So, doctor, this is technological security with internet ownership. The idea of DREX Citizen is that the municipality can have a server to handle the currencies. The municipality can be its citizen DREX. It distributes the citizen DREX to each individual, and the population will work with this DREX in this municipality, and it runs all day. Oh, but the entire system in Brazil went down, the entire internet went down. No, the municipality has a server. The internet doesn't go down in that municipality, and transactions continue to happen in the municipality because there is security with technology and ownership, and there is a local economy. The DREX will run even if the internet outside is down, but not in the municipality. It's down because the municipality has a server and a server backup. And at that moment, you have control over the information that comes in and out. Information is such an important fact. I always tell you that belonging comes from color and sense. Few people understand this. The mind seeks to belong, but it does not reach it. It does not know what it is seeking. It does not understand what belonging is. Belonging is a thing of the living being. Bacteria and cells, when they are together, when stimuli and molecules arrive, they react together, and this gives a feeling of belonging. The mind is interoception with proprioception. It does not reach the belonging that is molecular, that is cellular. The molecules arrive in the cells that will give the belonging of those tissues, of those organs. So for me, in my definition, belonging depends on the information that it has. So that means that if you are in the volume, this population is in the volume, the information that comes that gives the population a sense of belonging. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. And how serious this is, okay? How serious this is. Then the city government will have some way, the municipality, to control and not let misinformation in. Because it doesn't matter if it's information or misinformation, the sense of belonging will be based on this. And it could be dirty and it will become a form of belonging based on misinformation. Okay, and this sustainable local economy with DREX, Citizen 2, I'm generating, there's a farmer, there's a smallholder who has a small region with a little forest. Look, this forest is entitled to so many DREX, so many carbon credits here for you. This river is not polluted. Whoever is there on the river, this little river, look, it's not polluted. So there's a DREX, no DREX, carbon credit because this river is not polluted. Look, this company doesn't generate any waste. Even better, the water that arrives near the company, the one that comes out, is better than it smells. It even filters. I'm generating an economy and mitigating the climate crisis, the climate emergency. The climate emergency, for you to understand, for me, has the global warming factor because the burning of fossil fuels and pollution are valid. But what is also happening with this global warming is that there is excess water in the atmosphere. Water. This water can be retained by forests. Forests retain water, the water flows, but it stays there for a while. So forests are important, forests and springs and water mines and such, because forests are there. And they hold the water back a little. They slow down the flow of water. It goes up and down. The water falls, evaporates, falls. No, but forests hold it back a little longer. And then there won't be as much rain, right? Which is important. And of course, reducing pollution, reducing the burning of fossil fuels, and then the population or the city government can establish rules for national gas sovereignty. I would put an AI, the artificial intelligence city hall, where all the data goes through a place that classifies, looks at, sees if the data is coherent or if there is an infiltration, a process of total disinformation in that region. But the one who controls this is an AI. It's like a COF. And this AI has algorithms, and these algorithms are auditable. And these algorithms are approved by the city council. Look, the algorithms have this and this rule. The algorithm is failing, the AI is failing, get up, change the rules, the AI changes them, and no one looks at anyone's data. But if this data contains some kind of conspiracy against the municipality, against something, the algorithm spots it, looks, wrong data, misinformation. And with that, we have a better idea of things. It's important to understand this whole context. Democracy is real, it depends on education. Of those of human beings, education will already talk about human beings, right? Health, if you don't have health, it's difficult to ensure yourself. All these three stages, all three, they are together, they interact, health, education. There was a scientific study that I thought was fantastic. The money you put into education reduces the number of hospital queues. At the state level, the extra money you put into education will reduce the cost of hospitalization for your child. Education is fundamental, and education will, at its highest level, we have to think that education is learning to speak, write, read, and learn how to digest, eat, and eat. So there is a whole education process. And then there are the rules at that time in that city, in that municipality. The important thing about this real democracy is that it is based on the history of the place. Okay? Before, as I tell you, we came from this domesticated republic that came from Europe and imposed European rules on us, okay? There's no point in us fighting about it. Yes, but in this region where I live, in this city where I live, in this place, in this neighborhood where I live, some things are starting to emanate that can improve the neighborhood, which has some slightly different rules. Democracy is real. It emanates from the history of this population in this place. Understand? And it creates certain values for this place, and this place will grow. The cities will become states. So the state will also have a different rule for the state, which is the gathering of all these cities, and then a rule about this DREC, about this currency that will circulate and how it will circulate, and the transaction from city to city, okay? And a backup of this information about this, and then South America, Latin America, then the American continent, then the entire planet, rules, rules, rules. I mean, spaces, 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 spaces. But all the larger spaces, as they say today, I heard Levantel talking and talking about. An old politician said the following: everyone lives in a municipality. No one lives in a state or a country. They live in a municipality. And that's exactly it. You're in the volume. In that volume, in that municipality, in that place, we have to have some rules. What are rules? Rules in your house, rules in your condominium, if you have a condominium, or in your neighborhood, rules in the municipality, rules in the state or in the region, even state, country. Did you notice? That's the rule. But the rules have to start in the history of the place, and each place will have a different history. And each culture can be developed and develops within this umbrella that is larger than the Brazilian constitution, which is giving a certain autonomy, which opens space for real democracy. It opens space. Of course, some rules are still very rigid and very strong because the financial market is the one that put the deputies and senators there to make these rules, to make the rules according to the financial market, and therefore the population will always be harmed. But if these people really looked at the population, the rules would be more targeted to the population itself, to the municipalities and municipalities, to the neighborhoods and neighborhoods, until it reaches the citizen's home, improving everyone's lives so that we can have a real democracy. Guys, that's more or less what I wanted to say. And I'm going to touch on the topic of the next live so we can try to round this subject out. In the next live, I'm going to talk a little about something that's interesting, which is humility. 2 points, another 5. Humility, 2 points, another 5. I will never realize reality. You will never realize reality. I will never realize reality. We have to be humble about this. Reality is formed on top of your consciousness. Consciousness comes from your feelings and the information that reaches you. You have a feeling, and then with that feeling, you have information reaching you and generating consciousness. All consciousness is generated on top of a feeling. So you have a fact occurred, materiality, a fact occurred, it's there, you're witnessing it, no one is narrating it, you're witnessing the fact, but you're witnessing the fact with a feeling, so you'll have a conscience. You'll present it, you'll see the same fact, the fact is there again, the same, there's no difference at all. Yes, but you're looking at that fact, the same fact with another feeling. You'll have another conscience and another vision of reality. Now, what if it's something different? So, the same fact, you'll have different consciences and a different vision of reality because you looked at the fact with different feelings. What if I'm just getting narratives? It's not even a fact. If your group, not you, is receiving narratives or misinformation, your group still has a reaction as if it were a gang reaction, you know? This reaction is a fact. It depends on the feeling you are in. You see the group reacting and consider that as a fact, the reaction to a stimulus that is misinformation. And then you're lost. And then you're living on a flat earth in a parallel Brazil outside the little house where you simply see and have a conscience, and this conscience is very far from the reality of the facts because your conscience is based on the group's reaction to the facts. So it happens here, it went green here, the group says like this, say red, everyone says red. And then you go into this group conscience that is narrative and doesn't even talk about facts. I mean, the same fact, if you look and feel this fact, receive this fact with different feelings, you will have a different consciousness. Oh no, I'm just looking at my group's reaction to the facts. Some facts happen, the group shifts its attention here and there, and you see this movement of the group, and you follow the group's movement, then you are in parallel Brazil. There is no more structure, you really are completely out of your mind. But even if I see the facts, I will never perceive reality. Because reality transcends our feelings, and it is our feelings that give us awareness in the face of the stimuli that come. What we perceive based on our feelings. So that's what I'm going to talk about in the next live. So what do I say? Democracy is real. I have to introduce education. I have to show people how their feelings are being developed and how feelings change awareness within the facts. I have to provide health for these people. I have to keep them well and safe. And she feels a sense of belonging. And I'm not going to talk about humility now. Even so, humility, you and I will never realize the reality. We will see all of this by trying, by living together. And if we have a cooperative education, helping each other in an instinctive way, and not to be the leader, not to be the alpha male, simply to be human. And live well the life that gives us this life now, this full now, this magnificent now, this pleasant now, full of surprises. And it's only the now that we have. We don't have tomorrow, we only have the now. And sometimes this now is dedicated to strange things, to the hatred that blocks the brain connect to me and makes you simply replicate what you were. You won't be able to perceive the new if you are filled with hatred. If you are filled with hatred in a system that follows your beliefs well, you are stuck in your beliefs or even in your performance, in high performance. You are executing that in high performance, you will not change, you will not notice the new, you will notice what you were. Then you have to open up a little, smile, do something different, stretch, take a hot bath, stretch, think differently, believe differently, oops, feel different feelings, look, and consciousness comes differently. Even so, you will not perceive reality, but rather you will have an awareness within the stimulus that reaches your feeling, and this will give you a perception of reality based on a feeling. But you can control feelings. If you control feelings, you control consciousness. And then you will try to seek facts and not the narrative or the reaction of the group or the bubble or the church you are in or the political party you are in. The reaction of that party in relation to the facts or the relation to the narratives. It is a movement. The movement is real. Yes, but where are the facts? Where is the information? No, there is none. It is just a trick to bring people together to feel a sense of belonging based on what everyone is receiving equally. And sometimes the reception of the same is misinformation. If the municipality has the server and data control, it will be harder for disinformation to enter. If the state has servers and also its state and data control, it will be harder for disinformation to enter. And through AI, so that we don't have this, so that we don't lose our privacy. And if the entire state takes a look at this data control, national security will be much better on several levels, municipal, state, and federal. Folks, this is what I wanted to leave with you. Democracy is real. Education, health, and security. A big hug to all of you.